Hey y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm in Southeast Ohio, USA. It is March 26, 2025 as we're doing this video, and just had some thoughts I want to share with y'all. 3 things that help keep me sane in dealing with the public in our farm operation. We have a very small family farm operation, independent, not subsidized or financed by any other entity. Family run, so 5 of us, my husband and I, 3 young adult sons, all still here in the household, are the workforce, all the labor hours, all the sweat equity, and all the financial backing. And so obviously the goal is have the farm make money to keep itself going. The farm doesn't have to support the household, but nonetheless, a lot of work goes into planning for the farm, running the farm, taking care of the livestock, and just keeping it going. So part of running the farm, which is part of any business, is working with the public. If we don't sell what we produce, we don't have a business. We don't have a farm business. We don't have a production agriculture business. So anybody in any kind of business faces that. And honestly, I mean, if you really want to paint broad strokes, in our opinion, a household, financial wise, should basically be looked at as somewhat of running a business. Like, you need to budget, you need to account for every dollar, you need to not be in the hole, you need to be making enough income stream to keep the thing floating. So, you know, any business, any home, we all deal with this. And even if we're talking financials of the household, you know, we either deal with full-time jobs, or we deal with side hustles, or we deal with part-time income streams, or any combination thereof. So even if we're only talking household, we all deal with the public. Could be coworkers, could be customers, could be vendors, etc. And professionals that we have to work with in our businesses. But really, in this aspect, I'm really focusing in on when we deal with customers, with clients. 3 things that really help me keep my sanity in just being respectful of people, recognizing that other people are trying to do their best, are trying to probably manage limited resources and still provide things for themselves, their households, their families, and not attaching personal emotion to a lot of the exchanges. So we need to do that, because really, in order for all of us to respect each other, we have to kind of just not get emotionally invested in everything, you know, and not let things that are just doing business trigger emotional outbursts in us, right? So where am I going with all this? So I do want to tell you 3 tactics that I use in daily life, on our farm business and off our farm business, even dealing with household finances. Things that help me be respectful of other people, not lose my mind when trying to schedule things and trying to complete projects and work toward goals. 3 tactics I use to just like save the sanity, you know. So first thing that I always keep in mind is, I guess basically, if you said to me, do you have a philosophy on life? What's your method of operation? I would basically come back with under promise, over perform. Under promise, over perform. I would much rather not tell people I'm going to do XYZ and I'm going to come through on this, and then not be able to fulfill it. I'd much rather not do that than be able to up front say to somebody, here's what I estimate I can do, and have it be just short of what I really believe I can come through on. And then when I can come through, really come through in a big way. I would rather do that. So, you know, for example, we'll take coming up, we're going to have chicken ready hopefully by May 1st for clients. This whole group of chickens that we're raising, about 300 chickens, basically is all spoken for, all pre-ordered. So when we say that, even at that, I'm kind of leaving myself a cushion of like maybe 50 chickens that really aren't spoken for, that I kind of have some play with there on quantities, so that when we get to the point of May 1st is here, chicken has been butchered and processed, we're putting orders together ready to go out to people, that we really do have enough poultry to fulfill the pre-ordered reservations that we have said we will fulfill. I'd much rather be able to fulfill them all and come up with 25 chickens worth of extra poultry pieces than tell people that I can fulfill 325 chickens worth of poultry pieces and come up 25 short. So, under promise, over perform. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but still gave you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. And you can apply that across the board in your life, financial, otherwise, to everything. Really applies to financial, because if we don't have $5,000 to commit to something, we shouldn't promise that we have $5,000 to commit to something. If we don't have $5,000 to commit over 12 months, we shouldn't promise that we have $5,000 to commit over 12 months. We know the numbers. We know the math. We know what's coming in. We know what the norm is in our routine. We know if we have it. We know if we don't. All right. So don't promise it if it's very likely that we don't have it. Under promise, over perform gives you wiggle room, saves your sanity, gives you the ability to not be triggered emotionally by things building up in you and building up around you. So under promise, over perform is a good policy in general, and really apply it to your time. Y'all, yes, there's 24 hours in a day, but I promise you, to stay well and to stay in a good mood, you're going to need to sleep some of that time. Under promise, over perform with your time. We don't got to say yes to everything everybody asks us to do. We don't got to say yes to everything everybody asks us to do. Don't overbook yourself. Don't overpromise your time and then be forced to underperform what you can accomplish. Under promise, overperform. It's okay for you to say no to things that you don't want to do. It's okay for you to plan some downtime in your week. So that's the first one. Under promise, over perform. Tell me in the comments what you think of that, if you agree with that, if you think it's silly, how you prefer to look at it. So second thing, and this is a twofold thing. And again, talking about business, talking about just dealing with the public. Hey, I know the old wisdom says the customer is always right. And, you're going to get 9 no's to get 1 yes. And if you're producing something, you got to sell. You got to market like crazy. Hey, so this is going to be totally counterintuitive if you believe those approaches. Twofold, my second stay sane tactic in just running small business, running the household, running the schedule is, hey, not everybody's my customer, and the customer isn't always right. So that's what it is. Take, for example, the chicken that we raise. We raise them inside a barn. They're not pasture raised. Yes, they get fresh air. Yes, they get sunlight every day. It's basically an open air barn in the daytime hours until we close it up at night. That's all for predator protection for the birds. It's all for protecting them from the elements. It's really the best way we have found to raise the birds at the scale that we want to raise them, with the resources that we have to help them thrive, to give them quality of life, to keep them safe. But, there are people who would prefer to have birds raised on pasture produced into poultry. They want poultry from birds raised on pasture. They might want eggs from birds fed with organic grains, organic complete feeds. We don't do that. So anytime we get those kinds of questions, are your eggs organic? Are your meat birds pastured? I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie about it. No, they're not. They're fed grain. The grain is corn-based, soy-based. The grain is not marked organic. So, I'm not going to try to represent it. Otherwise, not going to try to misrepresent it. I'm just going to make peace with, it's okay if that person isn't my customer. If I don't produce what that person is looking for, they ain't my customer. And you know what's so cool is that there's some other farmer out there that is producing what that customer wants. And I can have this attitude of, hey, check with so-and-so down the road that raises poultry, or hey, check in at the local feed mill. They've been in business for decades. They know a lot of people. Maybe they know somebody who's raising what you want to buy. You don't have to be my customer. I don't have to compete with everybody out there. If I'm producing what you're wanting, you might be my customer. But if I'm not going to misrepresent it. I'm not going to change my whole production system in order to try to grab one more customer. We're going to do what we do. We're going to stay in our lane as long as that's working. And we're going to recognize that not everybody is our customer. And we're not going to let it get in our head and rattle us. We're not going to let it take us out of our game. So not everybody is our customer in that regard. If you're producing something, selling something, hey, there's other producers out there, and it's okay to share the wealth amongst us, especially in production agriculture. We need to have that attitude. We need to be building each other up, promoting each other. We do have to promote our own operations, but also promoting each other, y'all. So at any rate, not everybody's our customer. And I will have to say, there's times we've had to take the tack. The customer's not always right. We always try to see things from our customer's perspective. And we always try to be open-minded to the fact of, hey, is there something we need to be considering that we haven't considered before? Is there something that we need to improve in our operation? Is there just something that we need to change that we've learned a new way or a way we can do better? But that doesn't mean like if a potential client or customer would criticize something we're doing. Okay, we need to take a fair look at that and look at our system, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily right. Okay, so the whole point with that is it's just like if you're in competition, you can be triggered. And what I'm thinking of here, I'll tell y'all what my mind is going to here. If you've seen the movie 7 Days in Utopia, awesome movie. But a good ways into the movie, one of the main characters talks about a golf game in which he is to have played golf against a huge golf celebrity, very talented at golf. And he's kind of telling the story that, the better the other guy did, the madder he got. And then people made these comments, and these little comments about the little ways that he did things just took him out of his game, and he just got madder and madder. And that's what this train of thought applies to. Like, it's okay to say to yourself, in some instances, if you've considered all the possibilities and you're still coming up with sticking with your system, there are times the customer isn't always right, and we need to be as polite about that as we can in interacting with our clients, but we don't have to change the system because a couple of people criticize little pieces of it. Okay, if it's fair criticism, leverage it to make improvements. Realize that not every criticism is fair. Some of it is just hate mail, and just ignore it. Okay, so, and then the third thing I do when it's just like, how am I going to manage all this? And let me tell you how I know when I'm at that point. Does this ever happen to y'all? When I leave my house to go somewhere, yes, I'm going off on a tangent, but we're going to circle back around. But when I leave my house to go somewhere, I go out a county road for about a mile, and then I hit a state route. And I usually do pretty good. Get out on the county road. You got to go to the right to get to the state route a mile up the road. So I do good with that. And I get out to the state route, and, I'll get turned whatever direction I'm going. And my mind will be like so busy a lot of times thinking about appointments I got to get to and client meetings I got to get to, or I got to be at the barn at a certain time, or I got to meet somebody at this place at a certain time. And when it's something like out of my routine, that's when it's going to be, the most weight on my mind. So I'll get out on the state road sometimes, and there you are going down the road at 55 mile an hour, and my mind goes blank and goes, where was I going? Do y'all know how unsettling it is to be going down the road at 55 mile an hour and have no idea where you're headed? I mean, that'll take you out of your game right now. And then like split second, as soon as I focus, you know, it comes back to me every time. But when I hit that point, that tells me, hey, you've been letting the schedule run you. You ain't running the schedule. You need to slow this train down, way down, way down. So basically, you know, at that point, I try to catch it before I get to that point. But if we get to that point, that's basically a signal. Hey, you need to schedule some downtime in the schedule. You put the phone away. You either the family, you know, just hang out with the family or spend some time on your own. But you need to distance a little bit and spend some time outdoors. Do some low key things. Get some order, you know, back in the schedule, back in the household. Straighten up the desk. Tidy up the living room. Get the laundry in order. Make sure the dishes are done. Those basic things, you know. You need to schedule some downtime and just do what comes up. Or right here, I don't know if y'all could see them at all in the camera. Spend some time with the dogs. Spend some time with the dogs. You can, you know, change that to whatever is your hobby, whatever is your point of relaxation. But that's what we're going to do right now. Tanner and Gus and I, you can see they're ready. We're like 10 foot from the back door that we use, and it's about 1:30 in the afternoon, and I'm going to grab we have a toy that's designated just for outside for fetch for Mr. Tanner. So we're going to be heading out, and they know that. We're going to go play fetch for a little bit out in the yard, but that's the third tactic I use. Do something that helps you just relax. Just relax. Take some downtime. Play with your dogs if you like dogs. Take a walk. Take a run. Go to the gym. Call a friend. If you like watching videos, watch a video. Read a book. And build a project. Go work on your truck. Whatever. You know, whatever. Go do some gardening. Whatever gives your brain a break from all the crazy and all the things we don't understand about how people process things differently, and just take a break. So I love those 3 tactics. They're really pretty self-explanatory. I apply them in working with our small farm operation, production agriculture business, but I think they can be applied to all of life. So my first strategy is under promise, over perform. Self-explanatory. Second strategy is remember, not everybody's your customer, and not every customer is right all the time. And it's okay. Third thing, it's okay. Take a break. Take a break. You know, it's your life. You running it. We don't have to let life run us. I promise. I promise. So we're in your corner cheering you on. Let us know in the comments, what are your tactics for staying sane in a crazy, crazy life? Thanks so much for supporting Twin Oaks Family Farm on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it.